Muses of Mythology is a spoiler-heavy podcast.
That's an understatement.
We're going to discuss not just the events of this book, but the Rhineverse as a whole, and really anything that we feel is relevant. You can find full spoiler warnings in the show notes. Oh shit, what is my script? I don't remember.
You can't do that, Darien.
But I did.
It's been a minute since we've actually recorded a main feed episode.
It has. We've done a lot of Christmas Carol ones.
We've done a lot of Christmas Carol.
I'm
not even sure if I'm going to be able to introduce Bunker 9 anymore. It's so long.
What is it? Oh no.
Oh no, what is it? Hello, everybody. No,
that sounded right. That's not this one though. Hold on, don't confuse me. Welcome to Muses of Mythology, a podcast where we explore how ancient myths become modern pop culture. This week, we continue our journey through Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson and the Olympians with Story 51, Icarus. I'm your co-host and podcasting muse, Darien Smart. Joining me is my co-host and brother, DJ.
How's everybody doing today? I am the muse of chickens.
Okay.
Yep. Every chicken, every time a rooster crows or a hen lays an egg, it's me.
I really think we need to interrogate what we mean when we say muse. But let's go.
No,
we got to muse about this in the garden for a minute.
A rooster's crow is art. So I am providing them with the inspiration to crow.
DJ, we have to go announcements. We're doing announcements now.
Man, it's been a month.
It's been
a year, in fact.
Yes, this is true, because this is the first week of January when our dear listeners are listening to this.
Yep.
But wow, can we maybe be a bit of a stereotype when we say we really finished strong over on the Patreon?
We finished strong just in general. I think Musemas was amazing and just a huge success for what we were going for.
Absolutely. It was super fun. So thank you for everyone who came over to the Patreon and hung out and listened to that, including our three new patrons.
Amazing, guys.
Absolutely unprecedented. Thank you so much to Nina Moore, Finn Blake, and Ken Wilson.
Man, you guys are truly amazing. We appreciate you. And I hope you guys liked Musemas and all the other content you guys get access to.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you so much for supporting the show, for joining us. And also, this means we have hit one of our patron stretch goals. That's what they're called, right?
Yep,
On Patreon?
Patron stretch goals.
Yep, which means buttons are now available on the Muses of Mythology merch store.
Yes, and each of our patrons will receive a button in the mail.
Yes, so if you're a patron, in the month of December, don't buy a button, because I'm going to send you one.
Yes.
I'm going to send you one this month. I'm going to figure out how to do it, and you're going to get a button.
You're going to get a button.
Thank you so much. If you're not yet a patron, but do still want to see these buttons, which are awesome, they're shaped like squares, which I find so charming. You can check out those buttons, stickers, and then all the stuff we have. It is currently just buttons and stickers at the merch store, musesofmythology.com/merch.
Yep. Also, being a new month, we'll be also donating.
Yep. It's time for the monthly donation. In case this is the first time joining us, every month we donate $1 for every patron we have over on Patreon to some organization working to create a net good in the world. All over the United States, this winter has been exceptionally rough for a lot of people, especially those who do not have access to safe, secure housing. So this month, we will be donating to a local organization that helps the unhoused community here in our city of Boise.
It's called the Corpus Christi House here in Boise, and their mission is to offer hospitality and services to those in need in the city of Boise.
We currently have 11 patrons over on Patreon, so we'll be donating an additional amount out of pocket, raising our total donation to $21.
Yes.
You can learn more about the Corpus Christi House at the link in our show notes below.
Now, back to the show.
All right, DJ, new episode, new year. We're starting with a big one.
Is it a big one, Darien?
Okay, well, DJ, you're not supposed to act like you know that already. Well, I can't believe
Here's the thing about Icarus.
No, okay, wait.
Now,
No,
everybody has heard the story
you're getting
of
to the
Icarus.
end. You're getting to the end. No, we're going to go in order.
But
It is a big one, because everyone knows the story of Icarus.
I would argue. Now, obviously, everybody knows about Theseus and the labyrinth, but you had heard stories about Theseus doing other things. You just never decided to look it up. I'm talking to you, listener.
You were looking at me, though.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm talking to you, listener. But I ain't never heard Icarus do anything other than fall.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting at here.
Okay. No, we still have an order. So, DJ. Oh, no. What do you know about Icarus from the Percy Jackson books?
Well, he was Daedalus' son. His mother is somebody.
Probably. Yes, usually. But, you know, honestly, it's Greek mythology, so maybe not.
Yep. And he fell.
Yes. He did.
He did not. I was about to say he didn't want to wait for the wings to dry, but they kind of couldn't wait for the wings to dry.
Yes.
So
Maybe elaborate a little bit on.
Yeah, ended up coming undone and then falling.
Yes. Do you want to provide specifics about the falling? Just in case, maybe we have a listener who's never heard of Icarus before and didn't read the books because they're joining us for this journey.
Okay. The original story of Icarus, right, is he is Daedalus' son. Daedalus has made wax wings for him and his son to escape out of the tower that they were trapped in. And when they finally managed to, the story goes that Icarus was, getting high and mighty as a cocky little teen boy.
As they do.
And he's like, son, you're not the only thing in the sky. I'm going to fly higher than you. And that ended up melting the wax wings that Daedalus had made. And so he plummeted into the ocean. And that's the story of Icarus. And that's the end of the episode, everybody. Have a good time.
No, what? Happy New Year. We give you a short episode.
Right.
No. Okay. Well, yes, actually.
Yeah. And Percy Jackson puts the spin on it that the wings, they would have held no matter how high you've flown because, science, it's not going to get hotter as you go higher. It's actually going to get colder. Fun fact.
Yeah, fun fact.
So the wings just weren't dry. And that's why Icarus fell. Not because he was getting he was getting a little cocky, but that was because he was putting pressure on something that wasn't finished. Yeah. And not because he wanted to fly higher than the sun and the sun melting his wings.
No, that's actually, that's an interesting, I hadn't considered, no, it is a little different, but I hadn't considered how that subtle change of the wings not being quite ready yet does kind of change what the moral of the original, the message of the story is.
It changes it almost entirely. Like, what's the message of it just being a failed product?
Daedalus has survivor's guilt.
He does.
Yeah.
But he also told him, like, yeah, dude, just glide. Stop batting those wings. Stop using the wings like wings and just glide so we can get to land. And so we can either fix the wings or continue on foot. And Icarus did not.
No. Yeah, you're right. He's just... Oh, sorry. Not that I thought you were wrong, but I just found it in the books. I wanted to...
Double check.
Yeah. Man, Icarus grabs a wax gun and sprays it at the king.
Yep.
You ever been burnt by hot wax before?
I bet that's just hot.
That shit's hot. It hurts real bad.
I bet it's very hot. Especially wax that's meant to hold together wings.
Yeah.
I bet that melting point is pretty high.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. So they're getting the wings ready, and Daedalus is like, we have more time. They're too early. We need more time for the seal to hold. But the guards are coming. They don't have any more time. They escape.
Yep. That's definitely, it probably does just kind of like make it to where Daedalus feels more guilty that his son died because instead of his son being a doofus, it was his invention that essentially fell apart and killed his son.
Ooh, yeah. And also, God, this sequence lasts for a really long time.
Yeah.
It's
a dream.
Yeah, it's a dream. It is. So, yeah, it's Percy. So we see this story from Percy's point of view, seeing it in the dream things, as he does sometimes. I just want to... I get that demigods have dreams, but it makes more sense to me when they see things that are, like, actively happening. Or that are directly related to them in some way. And the Icarus and Daedalus and what Percy sees is not. It really just serves to educate the audience.
Yeah.
But Percy doesn't actually really need to know about this stuff. Well, to be fair, they do fly on the wings later, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's...
Ooh, here's another thing that that Daedalus is guilty. This, okay, man, Riordan does a lot in this thing. So additionally, I hadn't noticed, is that they're getting the wings ready and they need an hour to attach. And Icarus insists that he goes first. You made them, father. You should get the honor of wearing them first. So it's not only did they have not enough time, but maybe if Daedalus had made Icarus put the wings on first, his wings wouldn't have fallen apart, because that's what it is. It took a while to get the wings on.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, yep. But Daedalus just warned him, the wax compound should hold for several hours, but we must let it set first. And we would do well to avoid flying too high or too low. The sea would wet the wax seals, and the sun's heat would loosen them, the boy finished. Yes, father, we've been through this a million times. One cannot be too careful. I have complete faith in your inventions, father. No one has ever been as smart as you.
I have complete faith in your inventions, father. No one's ever been as smart as you.
Why? Why? Why is he
using,
Oliver Twist?
Just using father is such an English thing to do. Like, it's not at all.
It does make it. You're not
right?
wrong. I think it's supposed to be like old timey.
Such a British thing to do specifically.
I think it's supposed to be like old timey, because like I don't know what the ancient Greek term for like an abbreviation for the
like, I know the ancient Greek term for like at least like dad or father or whatever is pater.
Okay, but did they have like a shortened one that's like father's the formal one? Did they have a dad? I don't know either.
The only reason I know that is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. They used pater, and I'm like, oh cool, that must be where paternity comes from, because it's like maternity is, and mater is mom, paternity's father.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm like,
paternal.
Parent. I don't know.
So they get out, and Icarus is just pulling stunts. He soars up and scared an eagle out of its flight path, then plummeted towards the sea like he was born to fly, pulling out of a nosedive at the last second. His sandals skimmed the waves.
What did he just say?
It's interesting because this one, it's not. You're right. It's not even because he flew too close to the sun at all. He's going up and down and just pulling.
He's just using the wings.
He's just using the wings. He's putting. I think you said he put too much pressure.
Put too much stress on something that's just unfinished.
That's so interesting. Okay, so let's talk.
Like if I put a weld on something, I'm not going to be jumping up and down on it. Absolutely not.
But that's what it circles back to. What Icarus told his father is like, oh, his dad's like, oh, you have to be careful. But he's like, it can't possibly fail because my dad made it. Like if my dad made it, it's perfect. It's nothing could possibly go wrong. He has such faith in his father.
To be fair, the wax didn't set. So again, it wasn't used properly.
Yes, but Icarus is a teenager.
Yeah, I know.
He has no concept of that.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's still just like, if the wax had set, those wigs would have been perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the thing, right? So his invention did work beautifully.
It did.
It just wasn't proper yet.
It just wasn't, it didn't have enough time to set, so it fell apart.
Yep.
And that's so interesting that is how it is written. That is a remarkable change.
Yes.
Like, remarkable as in noteworthy, as in impactful change that Riordan made in telling this rendition of Icarus, because it is so different than what the main interpretation of the Icarus story is. Wherein, basically exactly as you said, DJ, you have Daedalus and Icarus. They are trapped in the labyrinth. Daedalus builds these wax wings they're metal and wax to get them out. And he warns his son, do not fly too low to the sea, but do not fly too high towards the sun. Near the sun. Near the word I'm looking for is near.
Yep.
Don't fly too near the sun. And then when they go out there and Icarus becomes like boastful and braggadocious and he tries to fly higher and higher and higher, the wings melt because it gets too hot and he falls to his death.
Yep.
And so the popular interpretation of that is a warning against hubris.
Yes. Do
not go above your station, essentially. Do not think you are more than you are. But I think it's also interesting because I feel like in that, and that's it. Okay, DJ's right. Gang, there's nothing else.
There's nothing else.
I looked
he
so
spent 12 13, 14 years, however long, in a tower, and then he died.
I don't think it was a tower. They were in the labyrinth.
They were in the labyrinth, but every time you see it depicted, it's a tower.
It's always a tower. Interesting, yeah. Why is it a tower? It shouldn't be a tower.
They fly out of it.
They fly out of it, yeah. But
they fly out of it over the ocean.
But it can't be a tower. It's the labyrinth.
It's in the labyrinth.
There's a tower in the labyrinth. I guess that makes sense.
It's the labyrinth.
It's so interesting. Yeah. The timeline on the labyrinth. We've already gone into the timeline on the labyrinth stuff. But we're back in the labyrinth.
Back in the freaking labyrinth.
We got out and then it pulled us back in.
I know. Crazy.
Okay. Okay, so apparently I did not write this down. I thought I did. But earlier you mentioned Icarus's mom. I saw one account that said that Icarus's mother was one of the slaves at King Minos's castle or palace that Daedalus met. That may just be a detail some person added because she doesn't appear or do anything. What happened to her, we have no idea. Why was she not imprisoned with them? Perhaps she died in childbirth.
Very possible.
Very possible. Yeah, so, and that's just on the mother thing. Didn't want to leave that one hanging. But I have no additional information on her. Sorry.
Mother was a Nobi.
Yeah, basically. So it seems like someone added that, like, well, what about the mother? And just made that up because the story is Daedalus and his son.
Yeah.
So it is a warning against hubris, but I think we also often gets forgotten is that Icarus wasn't just warned against flying too high. He was also warned against flying too low.
Yeah.
So the warning Daedalus gives could also be interpreted as a warning against, like, laziness, not putting in enough work, because it would have been easy just to let it, like, glide lower and lower and lower. But we only remember the hubris part because that's what actually got him.
Because that's what got him.
Yeah, that's what got him. And as a result, we have this, like, turn of phrase, this like, character element, this trope in, like, Western storytelling.
Don't fly too close to the sun.
Don't fly too close to the sun. Like, don't let your grandiose get the better of you.
Yeah.
Because you'll end up falling. And I think, as you mentioned earlier, DJ, this is something we talked about a little while ago. How that concept is just permeated, like, the idiom and then storytelling so much that I think I was aware of the concept of Icarus before I was aware of the concept of Greek mythology.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I do, and that is why Icarus gets its main feed episode, despite being literally one thing.
Yep.
And probably could have been in the mini myth roundup. Could
have been in the mini myth roundup if
the end
there
of the
wasn't
season.
So much pop culture.
Because that's the thing. So that is what is upgraded, because that's what I meant by a big one. It does feel like it is such a big one to address because it's Icarus, even though it is such the small thing. But it is fascinating. It's like, how did this small thing become such a big part? And I would argue that it's likely just the...
People like the story.
People like the story, or the symbolism of it, how it feels like it so well captures the idea of being punished by your own hubris. Like, it is evocative, this young man falling to his doom on waxen wings because he basically pissed off Helios.
So one of the main ones whenever I think of Icarus, I think of Kid Icarus, right?
Oh yeah, he's my go-to in Smash.
The NES game, as well as the 3DS game.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to know why it's called Kid Icarus, right?
Yeah.
And here is what comes up as, like, that top thing, that, like, blurb that Google gives every now and again. It is rumored that the name Kid Icarus was derived from the mythological story Daedalus and Icarus. In this story, Daedalus, a talented craftsman, built a labyrinth. And I'm like, no shit.
Yeah. Yes, it's definitely this.
Like, it's definitely named from this, but why is it that, like, in the lore of the game? Right? Is it really just because Pit is a kid with wings?
Maybe.
That's, I don't know, that's a little
It might
goofy,
be.
right?
It might be, yeah.
Like, I can get it. I can understand it from, like, the NES game when they didn't put, like, any thought towards, like, backstory of these characters.
Yeah.
Right?
Just
back then, it's like, oh, nobody needed any backstory.
It's a good name.
It's a great name. And it's just like, yeah, I'm just a kid, and I'm just going to go, and I got wings. It's like Icarus, you're traveling upwards, whatever.
I feel like we need to know more about the game and the character to speak on it, because I'm wondering are those his wings, or was he given them? Did we know?
He is given at least the ability to fly from Palutena.
Okay, so he's been gifted the ability to fly.
Yeah, but the wings don't disappear when Palutena dies.
What the fuck?
The only reason I know this much, and I'm like, oh, that's weird that, like, so in Smash Bros. Ultimate,
okay,
when you launch their story mode, you get a
Yeah.
cutscene of this dude coming down and evaporating, like, fucking everyone in the roster.
Yeah.
Except for Kirby, because he uses time travel to go to the, like, near future to be able to get past the calamity and then start helping.
Yep.
When Palutena gets hit by this ray, both Pit and Dark Pit lose their ability to fly. And I'm like, oh, So it's like their ability to fly is tied to Palutena, and she is a goddess of this.
This makes sense.
This game. So I'm like, makes sense. Now, do I understand the correlation? I've never played Uprising. Absolutely not.
I have no idea.
No clue. But I know it's there.
That's very interesting. I suppose that is very interesting. One last thing on the mythology before we veer away from it completely.
Mm-hmm.
So after Icarus falls in the sea and drowns, the sea of the area where he supposedly did the flight is called the Icarian Sea, named after Icarus.
Yeah.
According to lore. Daedalus goes to a temple of Apollo and hangs up his wings and vows never to fly again due to his grief. So that's just interesting because I was always wondering, like, okay, where'd the wings go?
What a coward.
No, it's like
straight up, bro. I get the ability to fly and my homie dies because of it. Sucks.
I don't know.
But I'm still gonna fly.
It's not just his homie, it was his kid. He admitted this thing and it led to his son's death.
I guess, but even still, I'd be like, hey, that sucks. But I can fly.
Okay, but it's called grief.
I don't gotta go through a terminal to fly.
Oh, God, not a terminal. Let's get TSA pre-check. It works much better.
Ugh.
So I think the thing about why did the Icarus story become such this like fundamental, the idiom, this element that you know. Well, first of all, Greek poets like really liked to talk about it. So it was all over the place in Greek, which means it was all over the place when the Romans were doing shit, which means it was all over the Renaissance era because those dudes loved Greek and Rome.
Yeah.
So then we all just have to deal with it. So we just have it.
Yeah, so it's people just liked the story. And honestly, I liked the story too. Like outside of it being Greek mythology, I just like the story. Yeah, I think it's fun.
Do you know who else liked the story? Chaucer and Marlowe and Shakespeare and Milton.
Everyone.
Those dudes were all really influenced by Ovid's version, fucking Ovid the Hack version of the Icarus myth.
Everyone likes Icarus.
And the iconography was just big in the Renaissance era, like all over the place. If we're not doing Jesus stuff, we're doing Icarus stuff. Sometimes both at the same time, I'm sure. And then just became like an idiom. So you could just use it in so many different like language and like poems, and it just becomes this turn of phrase that is so easy. You know what it is. I literally, the thing I think of is the line from Hamilton.
Yeah, I know.
Musical,
You've married an Icarus. He's flown too close to the sun.
It's
like, a very good line.
It's a great line. The way Eliza delivers it is so heartbreaking.
Oh yeah, it's very
and
great musical. Anyway.
Yes. And that is okay, one more thing I've got. Because I was just digging. I was digging so hard to try to get us like anything else. I was like, surely there's no, because I think as you said it, this kid kind of spent his whole life trapped in a labyrinth.
Yeah.
And maybe you could give him, because I know something like, I think that's maybe what has influenced Riordan's take on this so much, is that, because he talks about Daedalus is trying to like, hey, stop that, like slow down. But the wind carried his voice away. His son was drunk on his own freedom. And I think that is probably the element that Riordan took and focused on so much, and took taking away the idea of like hubris or sloth or any other reason being Icarus is falling. And just the fact that this kid has been trapped his whole life, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Like, his dad built this labyrinth, we know, ages ago, because the Athenians having to send like sacrifices to the Minotaur was going on for a long time.
Yeah.
Every like 7 years or so, which means it could only have been less than 3 cycles of Icarus's lifetime. And so it's been going on. He's been trapped in his labyrinth basically the whole life.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you give this kid wings and he's outside free for the first time. Yeah. Maybe he pulls
and wings too.
Wings.
The most like in flight is genuinely anybody who's like had that dream.
Yeah.
It's the most freeing dream you can ever have.
Oh, absolutely.
I've had it once. And
It's
I'm like,
great.
I want it again.
Yeah.
That dream was the best.
Yep. It is. And I think that's such an interesting take, because it is so different than we usually see for an Icarus take, because it focuses so much on, I think, the hubris of it.
Yeah.
So Let's talk about that, shall we?
Let's talk about the absolute worst rendition of Icarus.
Oh, so rude. Oh, we're going to do it right at the top?
We're going to do it at the top?
I mean, you started. We have to.
We're gonna.
We just really hate
Eternals.
I think we just really hate the Eternals movie.
I do not like that movie.
No,
I think it's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
Kingo's great.
Oh, we love Kingo.
I
like
mean,
Gilgamesh and Thena's bond.
They're fun. I didn't attach them as much as Darien did.
I liked them a lot.
That's fair.
I liked Cersei and the Black Knight.
No,
I thought they were cute.
That's fair.
I'm always for when they make a better version of a relationship than what was
Sprite?
in the comics.
Sprite was her name?
Oh, god damn.
Yeah.
No.
Hate
Okay.
her. She's annoying. And then
there's Icarus.
Well, there's the fast chick and the druid, and I don't care about
Druid
them.
and then Mercury.
Something like that.
Okay, so we are aware that these come from the Marvel comics.
Yes, very much so.
I don't know enough about these characters and their version in the comics to speak on them, and we already heard us try to speak on Kid Icarus and Pit, so we're not going to do that. We're just going to talk on the ones we know best.
So Icarus in this is the leader Superman of the group who's got a weird complex with Cersei and the previous leader, and I don't know, man. I thought it was so goofily stupid that they had him fly straight into the sun at the end of the movie.
Yeah, that's just his thing. He can fly and has just general Superman-esque superpowers.
Yeah, he's got strength and laser eyes, and he was very bad at using those laser eyes, let me tell you. I will never understand how anybody ever misses with laser eyes.
I feel like
something that travels as fast as light coming out of something that you're looking at or you're using to look. Well, how are you missing?
Well, it doesn't travel as fast as light. We know that.
Goofy.
Well, because it does. It just doesn't.
Laser.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
It still
the laser
travels
eyes don't.
Damn fast.
They
and
do.
You think like if I'm watching someone running, I'm gonna just scan right past them to in front of them, and that's gonna hit them.
No, I mean you would think.
I don't understand laser eyes.
No,
I think
don't
I heard
either.
once that in one rendition of laser eyes is that it just blinds them when they use it. And so it's like they have to preemptively strike. And I'm like, I get that. But it's just so stupid. Specifically that Kid Icarus one, because he was following, I think, Cersei with it. Come on.
Yeah. Okay, so I just learned something about the comics. That's actually stupid. You're gonna love this. Okay. So during ancient Greece, because the thing on the Eternals, if you don't know,
they live forever.
They've been on Earth for 1,000 years. They're created by a celestial to fight deviants. Whatever.
Bad plot.
In the Marvel comics, specifically the comics, during ancient Greece, Icarus marries a human mortal woman who he met in Crete. They had a son whom they named Icarus. And Festus helped build an artificial flying device so the kid could fly too. But before the elder Icarus could teach his young son how to use the device properly, he had to leave on a long mission fighting deviants in distant areas of the globe. He was gone for years, and his wife fell into despair. The younger Icarus, convinced that his father must have been trapped by enemies, put on the flying device to search for him. But the younger Icarus soared too high in the atmosphere and fainted for lack of oxygen. He drifted in the upper atmosphere for days until the sun's ultraviolet rays burned out the device's control. He fell into the sea.
Jesus. What the fuck is that?
Okay, hold up. It seems like Icarus adopted his son's name as memorial to him.
Oh, okay.
So...
what is his original name then?
Hold on. Let me see. I don't know. The thing about Marvel wikis is they are fucking wild, and
that's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. We just don't like Icarus in that one. And then just his whole thing is he throws himself into the sun
after he sees, I guess, that there was another way. What?
Oh, no. He throws himself into the sun because he is devastated at the death of the Celestial. It is so overcome.
Was that what it was? I thought he was just so overcome with guilt because he realized that there was another way.
No. Because he knew they wanted to stop the Celestial, but they would have to kill it. And he was morally opposed to that because the Celestial would go on to create more life, and therefore it was worth sacrificing the Earth because this was their mission.
Ridiculous.
So he fails to save the Celestial because he does not kill Cersei. He stops himself from killing Cersei, and then she is able to kill the Celestial to keep it from destroying the Earth, and then he throws himself into the sun in his grief and agony. And that's the thing for me, is the throwing himself into the sun.
It's just a stupid plot. Just really bad.
Yeah. We've got, I'm scrolling through. I'm trying to find any others. Oh shit, I found the Kid Icarus thing.
Yeah?
Okay, so Pit is an angel who can't fly. I'm sure there are listeners who have played this game have been screaming so time.
All right.
In Kid Icarus Uprising, Palutena can grant him the power of flight, but warns that if he flies for too long, his wings will burn up.
Okay, that makes sense. Icarus shows up in Hercules.
Okay, so that's the thing. So I was trying to think of the thing with Icarus is I feel like it's rarely a straight retelling of Icarus quite so recognizable. It's like we talked about with the Hamilton quote, or just someone demonstrating. It's the like that philosophical like interpretation of the story of hubris, rather than there is a guy and there is an Icarus doing the thing. But in the Hercules animated series, one of Hercules' friends is Icarus.
Nice.
Who's got like, do you know what this character looks like?
No.
Okay, look him up real quick.
Icarus Hercules cartoon. Why are you looking like fucking Hermes?
He does look like a wild. Yeah, he looks like he always looks like he just crashed.
Oh, so goofy.
So yeah, he is Icarus. He's the kid with the wings who flew to the sun, close to the sun, and crashed, but he doesn't die. But everyone just thinks he's weird, and he is weird. But everyone just thinks he's like a weirdo, and I think he does still kind of do the flying thing, but it doesn't ever work out well for him. Hercules' other friend is Cassandra, who has visions. We really do need to do an episode on the Hercules animated series.
We'll eventually get to it.
But yeah, that's the other one that I could think of that is like a straight across, like this is Icarus, and it is very different. I think his whole thing is it wasn't like a hubris thing for him. He just kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, oops, just kind of got like maybe a little overly ambitious.
So I'm going to whip out something that I haven't thought of in a minute.
Oh dear.
My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic.
Okay.
The episode entitled Sonic Rain Boom.
Oh!
In fact, I guess there was... Twilight Sparkle makes some magical butterfly wings for Rarity, warning her that they are very delicate. Ignoring this, Rarity enters a flying competition and decides to fly as high as possible so that the sun would shine through her wings and cover Cloudsdale in colorful light. The sun destroys her wings, and after an oh crap moment, Rarity plummets nearly to her death, being saved by Rainbow Dash at the last moment, and Rainbow Dash successfully does the Sonic Rain Boom.
That's right. In saving Rarity.
In saving Rarity.
Yeah, so that's a straight up Icarus thing.
That's straight up Icarus.
I forgot about. Wow, My Little Pony to the rescue. DJ, does Icarus appear in
What do you mean real life?
I mean, I'm sure there's lots of examples of fools doing... Oh, engineer and author Neville Shute pointed out that the wax on Icarus' rings could never have melted. The atmosphere gets colder as you fly higher. The wax would have frozen and shattered due to bitterness first, but either way it would have been the same ending. Okay, it doesn't matter, dude, it's mythology. Like, yes, as you mentioned at the top, DJ, we know that. But if you live in a time where you actually physically can't get that high, you would of course assume the closer you get to the sun, the hotter it would get.
Yeah. Japan's been working on a solar sail, and it's named Icarus.
Gang, no. Different name. Pick a different name.
It didn't melt.
Well, yeah.
Like, if we can get dudes... I always love the idea of sailboats in space. Treasure Planet was
I was about to say, like, you said solar sail, and I immediately think of Jim Hawkins in
Here's
Treasure
the thing,
Planet.
Right? No Man's Sky added solar sail-based ships to their game, and they look cool as fuck.
Listen, I love a solar sail.
Oh, it's so cool. I'm going to drop one in here real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Little nugget. Iron Man. The very first Iron Man. Tony flies up. And it freezes. And then I just think that's great.
It is.
And then he freezes, he falls, he solves that problem, and then uses it to get somebody else who was hubris enough to fly that high.
That's true, yeah. that is an interesting way it's done, is how he tricks. Because Tony at this point has recognized this flaw and already addressed it.
Yeah.
And how he can exploit it in someone else because he recognizes those old flaws in himself in someone else who hasn't addressed him, who hasn't grown, who is just taking. Okay, so I got one other Icarus thing that we actually talked about last year in April.
Mm-hmm.
And that is Icarus and the Sun.
Oh, yeah, the comic book.
By Gabriel Piccolo. And this I like a lot. We talked about it. And when we talked about it, I was going through a lot. And I am glad we did that episode. I'm glad we read it. And I had a very enjoyable time. Now I can reflect on it a little bit more and really appreciate the use of the Icarus story as an allegory for
toxic
relationships, but toxic in the fact that it's not the other person. It's you. Like you are, or it's both. The combination of you two together. Though you were not aiming, aiming to be like, Icarus was not aiming to cause harm. The sun did not aim to actually melt. Like, it's not like in the myth, it doesn't even say, and Helios or Apollo or one of the gods.
It's straight up just
happened. It wasn't like anyone, like, usually the retelling is not him being actually punished. It's just, a stupid mistake. So I do really enjoy how, because in the story, if y'all have not heard this episode, it's a Remyth episode from, I believe, April. Our patrons, many of our patrons have the ability to access that, or if you have not gotten to read it, I actually don't know if it is yet available to purchase. I got it by supporting the original publication of the book on Indiegogo many years ago. So I do not know if the author has been able to republish it in a wider format. But essentially, you have this character of Icarus. This was like art they had made of like Icarus as a boy with wings made of wax, and Sun as this young woman made of like fire of the sun. And whenever they are together, like he is melting and it is causing him pain. And so those are like the illustrations that they got very well known for online. But the twist of it is like, it's not really a boy made of wax. She's not literally the sun.
Yeah, it's just the metaphor that
the metaphor that is being used to tell the story, to visualize the harm that being around her is causing on him, merely for what he is and the fact that he's not dealt with that, and what it's doing to her. How she is not also aware of the harm she's causing. Not to say like, oh, it's her fault, she should.
No,
but
it wasn't.
But it was like you said, DJ. It's this interesting way of showing how like both of them were not good for each other and had to work on themselves. Like sometimes being in a relationship isn't the thing that heals you and helps you grow, because they had great times together, but then he breaks up with her and she's devastated and destroyed, and then comes back. He's like, oh, I want you back. And she's like, you don't really miss me. You just don't want to be alone.
Yeah.
And it's like rough and agonizing. But at the end, we see the two characters, like they happenstance end up meeting again. And it's the first time they are not drawn as like fire or wax, that they're just drawn as people.
Yeah.
And so we get this indication that they have changed and actually are no longer just these like, or maybe they're seeing each other as people for the first time and not as like these memories or this like motif of what they're expecting or what these roles they're filling, but actually as fully fleshed out people capable of having a relationship.
Yeah.
And so I think that's also like a really interesting thing, that this story that, like I said, like we know so well, you know it as the idiom, a warning against hubris or being overly ambitious, can actually be used to tell something else.
Yep.
And so I would say my favorites are definitely like the comic we just talked about, but also I really do like Riordan's take on it, like
it's interrogating
a very good take,
it.
Honestly, seeing it being like just this fault of not fault, but like Daedalus having like guilt, but like what else was he gonna do?
What else was he supposed to do?
Leave his son there? It was bad. Yeah, was supposed to leave Icarus because they didn't have enough time. Should he have like made Icarus go first? Like maybe,
definitely
but like
should have made Icarus go first.
But he couldn't. But they thought they had more time.
Yeah,
the guards came early that day.
Yeah, that's definitely the thing, right? It's just they thought they had more time.
Yeah, because in the timeline, it looks like this is happening immediately after Ariadne and Theseus have bounced. That's why Daedalus has been like, "Oh, we got to get out of here.
Yeah,
time to go." So it is interesting how there is so much potential. I like these because these are two very recent examples of being able to use a story that has been so permeated into like Western storytelling that you can reference it without needing to explain it, and you think we know it so well. But there is still more to explore and another way you could have a take on these kind of stories. And so I think that's also why I wanted to give Icarus the full episode, is because those two examples do demonstrate that there is God, I feel like I'm waxing poetically. But that it's not set in stone. That even if the story has been told so many times, there's always that anyone could have another take on it. Yeah. That you're allowed to have another take on it. That you're allowed to tell another version that hits the point that you feel or you're looking for in a retelling. Actually, that is something I want to talk about real quick. So this coming year, there's a book coming out called Girl, Goddess, Queen by B. Fitzgerald. And it is a take on the Hades and Persephone myth. Very focused on Persephone and the idea of her stepping into like this possibility of power and queenship in the underworld. But the author Fitzgerald did an Ask Me Anything on their Instagram. In this, they talked about how one of the biggest challenges they had in writing their book was telling a story that so many people have a very specific take on and that are very attached to the takes they like.
Yeah.
But they also talked about how they wanted to write this story because while they do love like a lot of Persephone and Hades takes and stuff, there was never the one that really spoke to them, that really focused on the things that they were most interested about in the myth.
Yeah.
And so that's what their motivation was, and that's what they wanted to create, is to tell this story that is a take on something that they are interested in. And I thought that was a really cool approach to mythology, and just something that I think that was valuable for us and what we do on the podcast, and how looking at retellings isn't just about like beat for beat bringing
how
it
true
back.
It is. But here's the thing. Now, we just went through a 12-part daily series over on our Patreon called The 12 Days of Musemus. Definitely go check it out. I had a lot of fun doing it.
Yes, we did.
I would still say that there is no adaptation that I like more than the original.
And that's fair, because I think for you, the original captures the most about like what you are looking for. And there just hasn't been one that's captured a take of it. But I think also in exploring all these adaptations, I think what we really did see was what resonated,
people really latched on.
What was the what did the reteller, what did the author, the narrative latched onto most? What were they wanting to highlight?
A lot of people really did latch on to the fact that Scrooge hated Christmas.
Yeah.
And he hated Christmas because it was Christmas specifically.
Well, and listen, y'all can listen to all of these thoughts over on our Patreon, patreon.com/more.
Definitely. We have in depth on like everything.
Yeah. So I think going into this year, we don't usually do.
Scrooge was an Icarus and he was about to fly right into the sun.
I disagrre with that.
How do you disagree?
Well, I don't think hubris was his problem. I think it's greed.
Well, yeah. But it was still a character flaw that was about to make him fly into a sun.
No, he wasn't going to fly.
Change.
No.
Yeah, he was soaring. His stocks were soaring.
I hope you didn't pull a muscle making that stretch, DJ, because you failed and you fell flat on your face,
I don't know
my
what
friend.
you're talking about.
So
agree with me in the comments.
Comments where, DJ? Comments where? It's
agree
podcast.
with me on the Twitter. I'll
you're going to post it on Twitter. Okay.
I'll reply.
Yes, anyone who's still on Twitter right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was Scrooge an Icarus?
No, he wasn't. That's a why. Okay. I disagree with your interpretation, but I respect your ability to make it using sources. I just disagree with it. But you put the effort into it, C+. So the point I wanted to make...
Hey man, C's get degrees.
I'm dying. We're just going to finish this episode. Basically what I wanted to say is, going to the new year, I think it'd be very fun for us to pay special attention to maybe what it is that the retelling seems to... Yeah, what it is they're lashed onto. What did they care about? What is the element that maybe was added or
exemplified?
Amplified. That was amplified from the original narrative, and maybe what does that mean? And I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I'm into continuing down that path, because I do think that our greatest achievement so far has been, in fact, 12 Days of Musemus. Go check it out on the Patreon.
We can't. It's over. It's done.
Dude, I will be referencing that in July.
I think
at that point, I'm like, look forward to the next 12 Days of Musemus, where we talk about 12 more fucking adaptations of this.
All right. Well, with that foreboding promise, I think it's time to be done. Thank you all so much for joining us again. Thank you for joining us for a new year. It's gonna be a good one. I'm
It's going
saying
to be a fantastic one.
putting it out the air. We will be back in your ears on Tuesday, January 17th to talk about King Minos.
Happy New Year's, everybody.
And don't be like Zeus.
Don't be like Zeus.
Muses of Mythology is created and hosted by Darien and DJ Smart. It's edited by Darien Smart. The show is produced by Darien and DJ Smart, as well as
Tim O'Connor, the Crystal Con Man. Our music is Athens Festival by Martin Hain, and our cover art is by Audrey Miller. You can find her on Instagram at Bombshell Nutshell Art.
Want more Muses of Mythology? Support the show on Patreon. Just $1 gets you exclusive bonus content. Get more at patreon.com/Muses of Mythology.
You can also support the show by leaving a review at lovethepodcast.com/Muses of Mythology, or tell a friend why you love the show.
Don't forget to check out all of our episodes and episode transcripts at musesofmythology.com.
Thanks for listening.